Okay, so Yvette Cooper has been on LBC and she was on the show with Nick Ferrari speaking about various things. I'm going to show you a couple of clips here about her talking about deportations and asylum seekers. And of course, it did not go down well. So make sure you watch these two clips. I'm going to start the first one now.
There's nothing to stop that asylum seeker using the European Convention on Human Rights, is there?
Well, we do get further legal claims that people will put in.
Well, I take
but
that
that's
as a
why
no,
we're doing
then.
two further.
The Conservatives are right then when they said that the Human Rights Act can still be used for these people to block their attempted deportation.
Well, people can make claims as they've been able to do
so
for a long time.
So
but we're
this will
doing a
have no impact
series.
at all, Home Secretary?
I think that's wrong. We know that there are cases where, for example, the Abdullah Zedi case, for example, at the time when he was granted asylum, the time he was granted asylum, there was a return agreement in place with his home country. I believe that was a case that could have been deported, and it wasn't. And it wasn't because he was granted asylum, and I think it was wrong he was granted asylum.
Okay, so that video there was mainly about sex offenders being removed to be classed as asylum seekers and therefore deported. So that's something that she's announced that they're going to do, that deport anyone who's been a sex offender. However, there's been cases where that has not quite worked. And also, as Nick Ferrari rightly questioned there, what about the ECHR, right? Because we're still in the ECHR. The Tories wanted to leave it. Reform obviously said that they want to leave that straight away, should they gain power. However, if we let foreign courts impact our decisions, we're never going to be fully sovereign, and we're never going to be able to control our borders, who comes in and out, and we're not going to be able to expel foreign criminals, which is what this is about. And it kind of just sounds like a bit of a scam from Yvette Cooper and from Labour, where they're trying to pretend like they're going to put measures in place. But we all know that when it comes to it, the ECHR will be involved. The asylum seekers, I'd imagine, all know that they can do that and demand that the ECHR comes in. So yeah, another rubbish procedure that Labour have announced. I'll show you another clip here about asylum seekers claiming to be gay when they're not, in order to be granted asylum, right? Because some countries, especially in the Middle East and some in Africa as well, it is illegal to be gay. So that's been a new trend. I think there was one recently actually who didn't get deported because of that. So yeah, let me show you.
Campaigner Peter Tatchell has warned the Home Office that his charity is contacted by up to 30 potentially bogus gay asylum seekers each day. Hopefully you've been made aware of that. What do you and your colleagues intend to do?
Well, we do need to make sure that there are proper standards in place and also proper ways in which evidence can be tested so that
but how
the
do
asylum
you test?
decisions
if I'm from Pakistan and I say I'm gay, which obviously back in Pakistan it's how do you check whether I am gay or not?
There are approaches in the system, the way in which the asylum decision makers assess evidence.
How?
And
what do you
also
check to know if I'm
decisions.
gay or not?
So, with respect, I'm not going to sort of talk about the way in which the asylum caseworkers make the decisions, because what I'm not going to do is to make it easier for people to find ways to get round the system.
But you assure my listeners there are robust ways.
There are approaches that are taken to make sure that asylum decisions are made fairly.
Okay, so classic politician's answer, completely dodged the question, made up some sort of word salad that made her sound clever with using big words. Look, people are tired of politicians like this who are just babbling buffoons and who are just trying to dodge the question all the time and spend their whole career dodging questions. The Tories did it when they were in power and they got defeated in a landslide victory for Labour, and now Labour in power and doing exactly the same thing, just making up big words and big sentences, dodging questions. And as you can see here, there's a perfectly good question there from Nick Ferrari. If someone is claiming to be gay to avoid deportation, how do you prove that they are? And she's claiming, oh, there's evidence, the caseworkers and doing this and that. I can promise you that this is probably not even happening. They're probably not even checking it all. I'd imagine they're just taking it straight away and believing it. So yeah, what do you think about Yvette Cooper? I personally think that she's one of the worst Home Secretaries we've had for a long time. I also think, however, that she's good at dodging questions, which seems to be Labour's speciality at the moment. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below, and thank you for watching.